Alright, we are back with more Factorio. Here we go. I am Pax. We are doing a base tour of our Pyanadon alternative energy factory here. And in the last episode, we finished up our Pi Science Tier Stage 2, Pi Science Pack 2. So, just getting this started, ramping up. Of course, requires a bunch of crazy ingredients. And the kind of mid-game boss of Pyanadon making the arcades and lots more of the cotton guts and lots of general scaling up, yes. More animals, lots of animals, and interesting recipe chains for sure to make the Pi Science Pack 2. And yes, it took us about 55 hours to reach the Pi Science Pack 2 milestone, and we are, of course, doing a bit of a speed run through the game here. But it's funny because it only took us 23 hours to go from nothing to logistics science, and then 30 more hours just to get to the next science pack of Pi Science Pack 2. But it's been quite the journey, having a lot of fun on the way. And yes, we definitely have been using a few mods as well outside of the standard Pyanodon's mods, like the transport drones. So a lot of our logistics so far have been taking advantage of this little transport drone mod, and it's fun seeing these guys run around and deliver everything. And they definitely reduced the spaghetti required at the beginning of the game. So it's a much nicer, cleaner base. So we're over here kind of at our starter resources, and our iron and copper and our flora is all gone now. The stone's gone. There's still quite a bit of coal left, but our initial sushi belt is still going strong and making belts and automation science for us. And yes, we've also started to finally use the train network, and the theme of the train design is to build these, hexagonal grids. And generally the base design is to have a train station in the corners of the grid, and then build production in the middle. And so typically we are going to be producing just building our buildings into this region, and put a little bit of space in between the train station for all the pipes and belts and doing all the logistics, and then building all these complicated chains. So this was one of our first builds on the train network of tar processing. And then all the byproducts, all the products, all the inputs and outputs will go into these stations here. And so we have the station designed with every row or every column, I guess, of the track gives us 2 potential train stations, and this way we can have a lot of variety and do a lot of different inputs and outputs there. Yes, and we are using the logistics train network mod, so that allows us to do some pretty fancy things. And over here is really the heart of our train hub, and so we have this design where we can use the logistic train network mod to bring in multiple items into a single station. And as well, we're using the bulk rail loaders to both serve as a chest for items, but also to greatly increase the loading and unloading of the trains. Because especially at this stage of the game, the inserters are still very slow and limited, and I didn't want to deal with the pain of trying to use the inserters to load and unload the trains, because then it just takes so long. So the bulk rail loaders is a good option for that. And then we're also using the deadlocks loaders mod to just be able to load things very quickly into and off to the train network. And then yes, with LTN you can of course request multiple items to the same station. So by setting the LTN request, you can bring multiple things. And so we can make these designs where we just build something like small parts or anything else in between the train tracks, and all the items are just available in our bulk rail loader. And then we can, in this case, this is our relatively high throughput set of items, like for small parts and belts and lamps even. And so that way the trains can bring in and out a lot of things. And then we built a design for essentially a mall, and basically every station here is actually both a requester and a provider. And so this is another fancy thing you can do with logistics train network. And basically the way this works is that we have a bulk rail unloader here acting to bring in our items for production, and so the train comes and drops them off. And so all the requests are down here set as negative numbers, and then we can just get an inserter to directly feed our production buildings. And so this way we can basically pick like an arbitrary amount of items in here, and the inserters are smart enough to, load up the right things. And then we can put the outputs on the edges of the bulk rail loader, and so these can actually still access the train wagon and and also then put the material onto LTN, and it will actually also act like a provider. We have to do a little bit of logic here to make sure that the bulk rail loader turns off when a train is picking up one of the items that is being provided. And so these combinators actually make sure that when a train is here getting the collectors, then the bulk rail loader will actually be shut down. And so this is like kind of a cool way to build out our mall. And so instead of building like a conventional logistics spot mall, we're just using the fact that we have essentially logistics trains, and we have this kind of compact design to be able to request and provide into a single train station. And this is how we've been building out our infrastructure for the rail network. And, and then basically we can use the train network to help us expand and build. And so we've been starting to, of course, expand the rail network, and we've built up, the tar processing and the coke, and we have over here methanol and syngas and tar, and we have a lot of stone and all the fluids associated with the kerogen, stone bricks, of course, and a ton of moss. We needed so much moss, it's crazy. And as well as like doing logs. So just scaling up, some zinc over here. And what's been helping us build very, very quickly is, in conjunction with the train hub, we have the ghost scanners. And so we can, whenever we've been building out a design for the rail network, we can typically just put down the ghosts as we want, or even often I've been blueprinting the designs ahead of time and just pasting down the blueprints. And then if we put all the ghosts inside of the Roboport network, they'll get picked up by the ghost scanner. And so this will just tell the logistics train network that, okay, we need these buildings. And by setting the combinators correctly, we can directly request whatever ghosts we have in the build from the train network, and the trains will just deliver all the buildings for us, all the belts, all the pipes, all the power poles, everything that's missing will just be delivered. And so we've been just running around and putting down these blueprints, getting the train network to build and deliver everything for us, and then using our companion drones. Another mod that we have are the companion drones here, which are very powerful construction bots effectively, but then they've been really helping us build really quickly, and I think they go much, much faster than the conventional construction bots. And I think we do have maybe some construction bots in the network, but yes, we will start now using them more. And now we are heading towards the complex circuits. So the next major milestone will be the next tier of the circuits. And yes, it's a long way off actually. And at this point, we are also going to be mostly bottlenecked by how fast we can produce science. And so we really will not have much trouble, I think, keeping up with the building or the building speed. And especially now that we have a lot more iron, our ability to expand the base will not be so limited. For a lot of the game, we were actually limited by the amount of iron we had to just be able to expand. But for certain now, the limitation will be how much science we can produce and how fast can we research through the tech tree. And so, yeah, we'll probably likely put some effort into scaling up even more. So we just scaled up a bit of automation science, but we'll probably also likely want to scale up pi science and logistics science, and then I don't know, we'll see if we eventually scale up pi science too, but I don't really want to, but we might do it anyway. And yes, then we'll be just continuing with this kind of design pattern where we build these train stations at the corners of our hexagonal grid, and then build all the production and into these 3 squares, or kind of into the middle, 9 squares on both sides, using both sides. And yeah, this just continue scaling up, expanding, and we'll see what else comes along the way. There's a lot more technologies and things we could stop off for, but we're trying to get to all the milestones as quickly as possible. This is essentially still a speed run, so we want to go to the next tier of technology as quickly as possible, or the next major milestones, really, without stopping off for too many unnecessary technologies. And the technologies are extremely expensive, so we'll see. And I'll just also highlight our sushi belts, because that's also been another big theme of the base, is to make these sushi belt designs for a lot of situations. And yeah, basically using this inserter mechanism where basically you have, this is broken, one inserter puts on and 2 inserters pull off, and this basically keeps a single inserter's worth of throughput onto the sushi belt. And then by side loading the production onto this recycling belt, you can of course limit the total amount of items on the belt and then also have the production back up, and then put just a large variety of different things at relatively low throughput onto a single belt. And this scenario happens all the time in Pyanadons. So we have sushi belts for like the circuit boards, we have sushi belts for intermetallics and for mechanical parts and locomotives over there. We made a sushi belt for like our genetic engineering, and then we also have them for Braux, and I think for the kick-outs over there, and also Ulrichs. Yeah, so a bunch of sushi belt designs, and that's been fun. We'll see if we continue with mini sushi belts, because we also at this stage will want to start thinking about the UPS of the base. And one thing that can definitely kill a Pyanodon's base is running out of computing power to run the base, because it scales up so much. And so a lot of design consideration might be to actually build things that are a little bit more efficient for UPS, which sushi belts I don't think are very efficient. And so we'll see if we build too many more sushi belts, but yeah, we're definitely going to be building a lot more stuff on the train network and greatly expanding the trains, and hopefully continuing with this design. It seems like it's a pretty robust design theme, really. And yeah, so we will be then making our way towards the pi science, the complex circuit boards next. And then yeah, the adventure continues. So just wanted to then do a little tour of the base and talk about the plans, and I think the playthrough should be starting back up yet again. Cool. So I will see you in the next part of the playthrough. There you go, Factorio. I am Pax. See you soon.